Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Scott Beadle. Yesterday marked a big day for the First Arena in Elmira as the Tadros Donner Sports and Entertainment Group signed a new lease. They're promising to bring new events to the arena and to help revitalize the community. Big Fox's Matt Kleinditz has more.
Good evening, Scott. The new tenants plan on bringing back hockey to the arena, as well as introducing new events for residents in the city.
Hockey is back.
On Wednesday, Tadros Donner Sports were introduced as new tenants of First Arena. The Chemung County IDA says the lease will revitalize the arena and expand its use beyond hockey.
It's a home for hockey, but it's much more than that, and that's why they continue to say that it's an entertainment center. It's an entertainment venue.
The group plans to partner with Elmira College for college hockey and potentially work to bring indoor lacrosse and soccer to the building. The tenants also plan on bringing concerts and comedy acts to the arena, which Elmira City Manager Mike Collins hopes will jumpstart the local economy.
I think it just is going to be an extremely booming area where it will benefit, obviously, not only the First Arena, but local restaurants, local bars, local businesses.
Collins believes a revitalized arena will become a hub of activity in the city and that residents will have a lot to look forward to in the coming years.
It generates hope. It generates a good, positive vibe and feeling. Yesterday's press conference was extremely beneficial to the new owners, to the new individuals leasing, but also to the city of Elmira.
Matt Kleinditz, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
Corning is being recognized as one of the best towns to celebrate Christmas in the U.S. CountryLiving.com ranked Corning as one of the top 55 towns across the country for it. Colleen Fabrizi says, between the Parade of Lights and the Sparkle event, Christmas in the Crystal City has become a tradition for families across the state.
It's such a tradition for so many people, and not just people right in the immediate Corning area. People come from all over the state and Pennsylvania because they want to experience Crystal City Christmas.
The Gaffer District will be holding the 46th annual Sparkle event this Saturday. The White House is ramping up its efforts to fight COVID this winter. President Joe Biden laid out several steps his administration is taking, even as a new variant threatens to derail progress. Jonathan Siri has more.
Across the country, state and local health departments are bracing for the Omicron variant. The U.S. reported its first case of the new strain on Wednesday in a person who returned to California after a trip to South Africa. The traveler was fully vaccinated and experiencing mild symptoms. California health officials say the individual was not yet due for a booster shot. Some doctors say they're prepared for Omicron, but add the Delta strain remains the biggest threat.
We're having younger and younger people again, wind up on our ventilators, wind up in our ICUs, critically ill from COVID-19.
Health experts don't know exactly how contagious the Omicron variant is, but say it's likely current vaccines and treatments will provide some protection.
It may be more transmissible, just like the Delta variant, but there's no indication at this time that it is causing more severe illness. It is highly unlikely that our immunity and our treatments will be rendered ineffective against any future variant.
And today, President Biden is announcing a new plan to fight current and future COVID strains. The White House says that will include requiring inbound travelers to show proof of a negative COVID test within a day before departure to the U.S. The president also urging all adults to get their booster shots and asking businesses to continue vaccine and testing requirements.
We know what we need to do to protect people. Get vaccinated. If you're not already vaccinated, get boosted.
Moderna says it could have an Omicron booster ready in March. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
Attorneys for a 15-year-old suspected school shooter enter not guilty pleas as the investigation ramps up. Steve Harrigan has more from Oxford, Michigan.
We're learning more about the suspect in the deadly school shooting here in Oxford, Michigan. It happened on Tuesday. A 15-year-old sophomore allegedly opening fire with a 9mm Sig Sauer handgun. At least 4 students killed and 7 wounded before police took him into custody. The suspected shooter was arraigned on a total of 24 charges, including terrorism, first-degree murder, and multiple gun charges. And prosecutors say there's a mountain of physical evidence showing this was a deliberate act.
This defendant planned the shooting. He deliberately brought the handgun that day with the intent to murder as many students as he could.
Police say the gun was purchased legally just 4 days before the shooting by the suspect's father, but it's not clear if it was secured in accordance with state law. And his parents could now be facing charges as well.
We need to make sure and want to know that when we send our kid to school, they're safe. And responsible gun ownership is imperative. It's critical.
Meanwhile, the mourning process continues here in Oxford. Vigils and memorials are underway, with the community coming together to support grieving students and parents.
Every single one of us can identify what it means to send your kids to school, hoping that they'll come home safely.
The suspect was transferred from a juvenile facility to the county jail and is being held without bond. In Oxford, Michigan, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
The threat of a government shutdown continues to grow by the hour, with funding set to expire late Friday night. A number of Republicans are holding up passage because the current proposal would include funding for a federal vaccine mandate. Some Democrats are still expressing optimism that an agreement can be reached. Madeline Rivera is in Washington with more.
With time running out to avoid a government shutdown this Friday, a possible breakthrough today. The House and Senate agreeing on a funding bill through mid-February.
This bill makes very minimal changes. It would simply keep the lights on through February 18th as work continues on a longer-term measure.
But the threat of a government shutdown is still real. If the bill heads to the Senate, any senator has the ability to stop the bill's quick passage. And some conservatives, including Senator Mike Lee, want to strip out the funding for vaccine mandates as part of the bill.
These mandates are forcing millions of our fellow citizens into second-class unemployable status.
Still, some lawmakers are optimistic the government won't close.
Shutting down the government is never a reasonable option, and we certainly don't want to see it happen this weekend.
Even most Republicans say a standoff over vaccine mandates is not the route their party should take.
We know we're going to fund the government eventually, and I think I would choose another course.
The deal that House lawmakers say they reached on Thursday includes $7 billion for Afghanistan evacuees. And even though government funding is set to run out on Friday, it's unclear when Senate leaders will reach an agreement that will allow for a quick vote. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Still ahead tonight, are you planning to buy shoes for the holidays? Well, you won't have to wait on these. How New Balance is helping solve the supply chain crisis by producing shoes right here in the U.S.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Your Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. A little bit of rain to go around for some of our hometowns, and the precipitation did fall as rain as temperatures were above freezing throughout the day. 9 degrees warmer than it was yesterday in Corning, about 11 degrees warmer in Elmira, 10 in Watkins Glen, and also in Wayland, but around 12 degrees warmer in Wellsboro than yesterday. Tomorrow, though, we are expecting cold conditions as we start off with readings in the mid-30s. It will be cloudy and it will be breezy with winds coming in from the north, and that's going to result in very little warming up as we head into your Friday. But expect partly cloudy skies as we end the week. There could be a stray snow shower or so from Friday night into Saturday, and then I think better chances of snow and also rain for early next week as a system of storms move through our area. So the cold front that is pushing through our region will continue to move away from our area. Colder air will start to sink its teeth right through the Twin Tiers, and so it's going to leave us with temperatures that will be just barely above freezing. 35 degrees at 9 o'clock. If you're going to go shopping, you need that winter coat. 37 degrees at noon, and then we drop down to around 33 at 5 o'clock with just a few clouds in our sky. So a few flurries for tonight. As we move into tomorrow, all of this will be moving out, but then as we approach the evening hours on Friday, a few more clouds move in, and then we are expecting just a few flurries late Friday into early Saturday. But overall, Saturday is going to be a quiet day, and then we have a stronger system arriving early next week that will bring not only snow and rain chances, but also much colder air. This system will move through the Great Lakes region. Here we are on Sunday, but it looks like there could be a wintry mix moving in by Sunday night into your Monday. But I think temperatures on Monday will be warm enough where most of the precipitation will fall as rain. But here's a look at your forecast for tonight. Overnight lows mainly in the 30s, 35 degrees in Elmira, below freezing. In Wayland at 31 degrees, and your highs tomorrow won't be quite as warm as today. In fact, I think most of us will only be in the 30s, so it looks like we're not going to even climb into the 40s until the weekend. Some sunshine on Saturday, clouds take over again on Sunday, chances of rain on Monday, changing over to snow as we dive down into the 20s by Tuesday morning. I think all that will be moving on Tuesday, and then we have another round of rain and snow possible for the middle of next week, and that's really going to keep the cold air around for much of next week. Overnight lows will be diving down into the 20s.
Apple tells suppliers the demand for phones just isn't there this year. Plus, why Americans are saying they want companies' products but not their politics, and who took the top spots on Spotify's most streamed list. CJ Papa has more.
Demand for iPhones is slowing down. Apple telling suppliers that demand for the iPhone 13 has weakened. The announcement comes as Apple already cut its production goals due to a lack of parts amid the supply chain crisis. Despite all that, the company is still on track for a record holiday season. The iPhone accounts for about half of Apple's $365.8 billion in revenue last year. Stay in your lane. That's the message American voters have for woke corporations. A new survey shows the majority would prefer if companies steered clear of politics. Meanwhile, 63% of corporate executives think companies should speak out on social issues, compared to only 36% of voters. And rapper Bad Bunny is having a pretty good year. The Puerto Rican musician was named Spotify's most listened to artist of 2021, despite not releasing a new album. Pop sensation Taylor Swift was the second most listened to, with Korean pop band BTS, Drake, and Justin Bieber rounding out the top 5. Spotify has roughly 381 million active users and 172 million paying subscribers.
Now to the future of malls. As online shopping, two-day delivery, and curbside pickup become the norm for shoppers, retail experts say malls will have to adapt, which includes turning spaces that once housed big department stores into entertainment and gaming areas.
It's going to be experiential. There'll be gaming theaters and tournaments. There'll be Top Golf from Callaway Golf. It'll be mixed residential, retail, experiential. As you said, full disclosure, I work for both the New York NFL's New York Giants and New York Jets and the National Football League on the full analysis of American Dream and all the other malls around the world. And to your point, unless the malls really reinvent themselves and make themselves more attractive, especially to millennials, you've got an accelerated mall retail ice age.
Coresight research says 25% of U.S. malls are projected to close within the next 5 years. Shoemakers are having trouble keeping up due to supply chain issues. They can't get the shoes they need from overseas. But that's not the case for New Balance. That's because their shoes are made right here in the U.S. Grady Trimble has more.
These New Balance sneakers, they're not getting stuck in any ports in the U.S. That's because they're made right here in the U.S. This is New Balance's factory in Lawrence, Massachusetts. They have 3 other factories in the great state of Maine and another one on the way. Dave Wheeler, the COO of New Balance. So you actually expedited the opening of that 5th factory here in the United States, in part because of these supply chain issues that you're dealing with in other parts of the world.
Absolutely. We've been committed to domestic manufacturing since 1906, and especially in the pandemic and the global logistics crisis, it's proven that it really works much better than some of the imported product that we have.
This part of the country has a great history of shoemaking, but so many other companies have abandoned the region. You guys have stuck around. The factories employ 1,000 people directly, and then the shoes themselves are also made from raw materials that are sourced locally. About 70% or more of the shoe comes locally.
That's right. Over 70% of the value of the product is here domestically, which we love to support our local suppliers. We rely on them. Their innovation, their proximity, the reliability that they provide for us is incredible.
And you can see the process unfolding right in front of us. Handmade shoes right here in the United States in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Christmas tree lighting ceremonies here in the U.S. and overseas are filling the world with some holiday magic. Ashley Strohmeyer has a look at all the festivities.
3, 2, 1! It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, decked out in 50,000 lights and a massive crystal star weighing in at 900 pounds. New York City's iconic 79-foot-tall Norway spruce ushering in the holiday spirit during Wednesday's lighting ceremony.
To be able to see such a massive tree in one of the best cities in the world is one of the greatest feelings in the world.
But the excitement didn't end in the Big Apple, with a colossal 84-foot-tall white fir also coming to life in the nation's capital. Nicknamed Sugar Bear, this giant is adorned with more than 15,000 ornaments.
In wartime and in peace, in tribulation and triumph, the Christmas tree has offered a sense of hope and resilience to the nation.
Meanwhile, international celebrations proving to be just as festive, with crowds in Israel flocking to the city of Nazareth for a lighting ceremony accompanied by a fireworks show. And in the UK, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and a children's choir led a countdown to Christmas outside his government office. And back here in the States, anyone looking to get their tree should know prices may be rising, but experts say supplies are expected to be plentiful. If you do purchase a live tree, experts recommend cutting an inch off the end of the trunk before placing it in the stand and say make sure to give it plenty of water.
And if you're still looking for the perfect tree of your own, do expect to pay more without having to worry about a shortage of options. Prices for live trees are up roughly 10% this holiday season, but artificial trees are worse off, up 30% this year. Insiders say shipping delays and truck driver shortages are the reasons behind the price increases for fake trees. New research suggests books are better for reading time with kids than tablets or ebooks. Researchers found parents using ebooks had less of an opportunity to interact with their child in the story, while parents reading from a paper book were able to ask questions and start conversations, helping with cognitive development. This study was published in the journal Pediatrics. A group of dogs had a big job on Wednesday, helping to comfort kids who were rolling up their sleeves to get their COVID-19 vaccines. Drew Carides has that story from Massachusetts.
Therapy dogs were brought in from several local police departments across the Metro West area to put 600 kids ages 5 to 11 at ease as they got their second dose of the Pfizer vaccine just in time for the holidays.
I love dogs, so I really enjoy it. For the little kids, it gave them more confidence.
Helping to take the sting out of the shot in the arm, 12 therapy dogs made the rounds for more than 4 hours at Ashland High School, greeting hundreds of kids who got the COVID-19 vaccine.
If we have a kid that's really struggling, we bring the comfort dog over and they can hold the dog with the arm they're going to get their shot in. They get their shot, they don't even know they got it.
Sergeant Ed Berman is the COVID-19 task force lead for the town of Ashland. He says there were no no-shows at this pediatric vaccine clinic for Ashland and Holliston students.
I was really scared.
The dogs definitely helped, without a doubt. The dogs made it a little more comforting for them. They talked about the dogs.
It wasn't just the dogs comforting 600 kids who came here for their second dose. An elementary principal dressed up as Superman, an arts and crafts station, and other activities alleviated some of the nerves.
I think the first one hurt more because I think this one I was more ready for it. I didn't cry. It hurt a little, but after that, when you get like candy and you get to pet the dogs, It's really good.
These kids ages 5 to 11 tell us they're excited that they'll be considered fully vaccinated in 2 weeks. Their parents say the timing is easing stress at just the right time.
We've certainly had to deal with some close contact scares and things like that, so it's nice to have that peace of mind when we will be traveling, and especially with ski season. We're big skiers as well.
It feels good to get together with family after this. We'll wait a couple weeks and make sure that we all feel safe.
Most of the kids who came out here to Ashland High got their shot from their school nurse, and those running this clinic believe having a familiar face helped keep everyone comfortable.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. Are you looking for a sweet education? Then apply to Reese's University. If you've been enjoying Reese's peanut butter cups for a while now, you can become a part of a community of Reese's product lovers at Reese's University. The institution, although fake, has a nearly 100% acceptance rate and a mascot. Applicants can also send their credentials to Reese's University with hopes of becoming a cuppy themselves. Now, if college isn't for you, you can still support the team by keeping an eye on the school's line of merch, which is coming in the new year. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.